Hello, tankers. It's me again, a momentary genius, and I have my decision before you. And in case you didn't know what all the clues were before, here you now know that I will stop. I'll stop screwing up and insulting, sweating bullets. I know, wrong album, but it worked in my head. So yes, I have chosen the Megadeth bundle. Myriad of reasons. We'll start first with the tanker, the gaming reasons per se, and then I will let you know, but we will talk about the personal reason behind all this, because I don't know if you know this, music is a very personal thing, and it has affects us all differently and deeply. So that'll be for later. But right now, let's talk about the reason behind the bundle. And that, for starters, all right, it's cheaper than Iron Maiden. And yet at the same time, I feel you get a lot more. Uh, sadly, it's free because of the commanders. Yes, you get a ton of Eddie commanders in the Iron Maiden bundle, but you get a 3D Eddie that just... That's it. And okay, the 2D Eddies, great artwork. Never really bad 2D Commander artwork. So, looks great. But with the Megadeth bundle, voiceover work was done for all the commanders, because in all honesty, it seems like it's not that the band, like Megadeth, gave a shit, while Iron Maiden was just like, all right, here's another way we can slap our name on something, make money, yada, yada, yada. Okay, the KISS approach. Gene Simmons, stick my name on it, charge me, and I'll charge you 25%. I think, and this was kind of conveyed in the Weekly Assault Stream, that Megadeth had more fun with this. When the Wargaming asked, like, hey, can we do a voiceover for Vic Rattlehead, who previously was silent? Dave Mustaine and the band was like, no. And then Dave Mustaine came back, was like, yeah, actually, it'd be kind of cool to hear Vic, and as long as, like, Dave Mustaine does the voice and has control over what it says, it's cool. So that was really the main reason. It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, so we don't have a made up tank. We have a reskinned of probably a future premium tank. And as I don't have a Leclerc, I was like, cool, I would like to have a Leclerc MBT. I will not be grinding that tank line for a while. I'm just finishing up the Chinese MBT tank line. So yeah, I was like, okay. And with penetration of 633 on your standard rounds, ooh, yeah, why not join in the penetration power creep that seems to be occurring in Era 3? Hello, Object 477. Hello, Object 292. With your 900 penetration. Oof. Man, the next premium or tech tree tank line that comes out and they top out at like 560. Oof. Penetration. Oof. Feel sorry for that whole tech tree. Now here we are, I'm setting it up. For piece cells, I'm kind of in the whole question of the triangle of mobility, armor, firepower. I was sort of going along with what the French were thinking. It's like, I want to bump up the armor and the speed, because the gun, even all the reviews beforehand, yes, it is fine. It is good. It is accurate enough. It reloads fast enough to where I don't have to worry about that. So I can worry about being able to take a hit and or get into a fight and get out of a fight. So that's where my experimentation is starting with on the Leclerc. And of course, I will have Vic here as my commander, although I think I will be putting in Dave Mustaine later. Start training, well, one of the many Dave Mustaine commanders I now have start training, because as an American and Megadeth being an American band, I really think they should be in an Abrams. So I'll put Dave Mustaine eventually. It's not too far off. I'll put him in the M1A1 Abrams, which will coincide more with, I think, Countdown Destruction album. Whatever dates are off, a bit fuzzy in that regard. So that'll bring, my American pride to rest and calm down a bit about that annoyance. But it's neither here nor there. Realistically, I think this was awesome. Am on the whole American band thing. I'm really glad there was an American band, because Sabaton and Iron Maiden, great. We have Europe and UK. Thank you Megadeth for joining in this and representing the good old USA. I don't know what they could have done for a third act if they were just going to stick to Europe, but I don't know. We can theorize all we want. We've done that. Like, oh, what bands we won in Metal Fest 2? There's so many. It could be fun. I think if Slaughter to Prevail was part of this, I know some of you may not like that aggressive music. I do. They could have their own T-72. They did in their Baba Yaga video, so. Although we probably would end up with another Bear Commander. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch that music video. And if you don't like them, just mute it. It's okay. There's a mute button for a reason. And that's really why I wanted Peace Cells Tank, or the whole bundle, just because I don't need the commanders, but I think what the band did was really cool, and something that Iron Maiden kind of shortchanged us on, and I think Sabaton is starting to embrace being part of World of Tanks, as they're back and now part of this leading Metal Fest. So I think it's great that Sabaton is almost ingrained in, wargaming culture now. I hope to see them in Cold War. I really do. And that is sort of why I won the bundle. If it's absolutely unnecessary, P-Cells and Soldier On, nothing really, they're not really that spectacular. The Iron Man Amolad, all the premium tanks, in all honesty, aren't all that spectacular, which is good. Although sadly, if you are a regular of World of Tanks and you bought the Malot and got the season pass and got the 292, you're set for AR3, and there's several mediocre and really good premiums for AR2, FE4-11, the Chieftain 120 Hybrid, T72 M1. If you already have those, yeah, you're not missing out on anything AMOLED. That's just, I could probably take that tank and make it work really well. I'm tanking God, for better or worse, for probably more sadder reasons, but I can make it work. And it's too expensive for what little hype it actually has. And if anyone's wondering why I'm putting on the transparent camouflage and wasting my vouchers, which, God, I need more camo vouchers. I want to bring the concealment down as low as possible, so a little bit here, a little bit there. It helps. I know what you're saying, True Vision, blah, 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 but I'm sorry. A detected tank is a targeted tank. I will always believe that. That has been one of the experiences I have. So if I can do anything to keep, if I have an MBT that has even a modicum of good concealment and decent vision range, I will probably lean on making it semi more concealable and harder to detect and give it any chance it can at surviving. So again, it all depends on the tank and what armor, what firepower, and what mobility it has. So now we're going right into the first match here. I'm not going to be doing a lot of editing in this video because I really want to have a chance to talk. So, and I really find it annoying with so many tanks I do first match videos is on Mannheim. it's kind of annoying me. And Mannheim just... But anyway, I'm not really going to talk now. I'm wrapping up the whole tanking gaming aspect of this. So if you would like to, in your comments, what you think of Metal Fest. Yes, we know the premium tanks are all overpriced. The bundle's overpriced. If you play this game for a couple years, you have too many commanders unless you're in World War II and, my God, you have thousands of tanks to go through and grind. Or if you want them all and you play the game your way, I play it my way. And so, in your comment, tell us what you think of Metal Fest. Do you want there to be a Metal Fest 2? Because in all honesty, do you think, on a whole, is Metal Fest good for this game, brings in the players, and keeps continuing players coming back, bringing back any old players who may have been like, it's all dry, boring, and 6.0 is just a noose around this game's neck. I don't know. Tell us what you think of Metal Fest. And be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. Give you all a moment to write, and then I will start talking about why the other reasons I went with the Megadeth bundle. You know, this position sometimes can be very advantageous, and almost was for me if I got to it a little sooner. And you can see tanks crossing, and I really wish we had a way of maybe laser pointing out distant targets that are outside the vision range. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, so on to the personal slash metalhead reason for why I went with the Megadeth. Yes, I'm a metalhead. I've basically loved heavy metal since I was what? Well, technically, as I was a fan of Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, you know, I guess the more harder rock of classic rock back in the day. But upon discovering it, take it as you will, Slipknot was the first metal band I fell in love with. But of course, that quickly evolved into, you know, discovering the history of metal and learning about the big four of thrash metal. That's Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. Now, of course, as so many of us do, we start off Metallica and then branched out from there, but Megadeth, to me, is far more significant than Iron Maiden. It has, its lyrical content is more, speaks to me more. Now, granted, I am not saying in any way, shape, or form Megadeth is better than Iron Maiden. They are titans of heavy metal. To say flat out that Iron Maiden sucks is just blatant ignorance and disrespecting metal as a genre, because Iron Maiden, when they started with as coming out of the new wave of British heavy metal in the mid-70s, became really influential to a lot of heavy metal bands that would become huge and impactful on my generation, so like the Big Four. So I'm not saying neither one's better, just when it comes to music, some bands speak to you, the listener, more than others. Trust me, Aces High is still one of my favorite songs of all time, and of course Run to the Hills. It's a, you know, as an American, it's somewhat painful and, you know, humbling, because you're like, oh yeah, what did we do to the indigenous people? But, you know, sometimes if you want a history lesson, go with Iron Maiden. But Megadeth, lyrically, from its, let's just say, politics and more personal matters, related to me more. And also, I do like, I'm not so much into more grandiose and epic music, not all the time. I do prefer a more aggressive sound. Megadeth definitely has that. So that's also why I was sort of biased towards Megadeth already. And it really wasn't like Peace Cells, for starters, is like one of the definitive thrash metal albums. It's kind of like, oh, what do you want to? Oh, you've never heard of thrash metal? You want to know what it sounds like? All right, here's Peace Cells. Here's I know this may be going to like Ride the Lightning or excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets from Metallica. I go with Master of Puppets because I just feel it's more solidly put together in my mind, but I know Ride the Lightning has a ton of fans. Creeping Death is an epic song, okay? And then of course, Slayer, they kept it thrash. They went for speed well into the 90s, and then they found themselves a little older and decided to try to bring in more melody and slow down the pacing, which also kind of allowed them to be more creepy to some. Hella Dead Skin Mask. And then Anthrax, of course, sort of, I don't know if you want to call them Welsh, but they were definitely, with each singer they were definitely willing to try new things. And yeah, their collaboration with NWA, yeah, that really broadened a lot of listeners' horizons. So, across the board, love them all. But there is one thing that, for me, Megadeth has over Iron Maiden. And this is as part of, sometimes you need to get the aggression out, have a band acknowledge some of the more hardships of life, no BS, my politicians are screwing me, my boss is an a-hole and doesn't get it, and the people who I'm supposed to love and trust, in fact, are just poison in my life. You got that. But also, that's a catharsis for some metal. But also, Megadeth has a Tout Le Monde, a song that I realize some people do view that as a song. If you want to be, I'll tip for gore and be like, oh, it's encouraging an individual to unalive themselves. Yes, the opening lyrics could be read that way. But if you listen more to the song, and also, it really, to me, and as if, sort of explained by Dave and some others, it's not so much a song about suicide, it's more of a person who has lost a loved one trying to cope through that loss. A song about trying to remind ourselves through this pain of losing someone that the memories we have with that person keep them alive with us forever. And as lyrics in that song go, my body's gone, that's all. Simplify. Listen to the song. I really do encourage you to listen. It's a great song. And of course, if you can find, I think it was off United Abominations, the duet with Christina Scabia of Lacuna Coil. I will say Lacuna Coil is a great band, and Christina Scabia is a beautiful woman. So, yes, more biases pulling me towards Megadeth. Listen to that version too, or the original, but there's some music video with Christina Scabia, and I think you can sort of get what I'm talking about, because those lyrics have helped me, where I didn't realize it when I heard it as a teenager, how much they would help brace me for future hardships. As someone who at 35, has lost a father, lost a brother-in-law, and lost classmates well before their time in rather sudden and tragic events that in some cases were no fault of their own. Life is like that. It can be cruel. So Tout Le Monde has become a even more meaningful song to me, and I'm actually grateful that Megadeth put that song out into the world and were brave enough to put a more slow song and being less aggressive, which I do appreciate some sort of artistic progression in my bands. uh, not, I don't think you'll understand what I'm going, but if you ever listen to the death metal band Death, their first albums are nowhere near as progressive and intellectually deep as their later ones. Sorry if we're getting a bit into the weeds of heavy metal and you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you have whatever genre of music. You have bands that kind of like, oh, out of nowhere,
Focus on this area.
you got your power ballads, but also you got like, wait a minute, are they singing about the passing of their mother? Whoa, this is hard. You know, so yeah,
Slow him down.
because of this, I went with Megadeth. I hope Megadeth comes back. They won't offer anything new, but I'll be very grateful for them to be part of a game that I'm doing a lot with in my life. I will be, I come on 8 or 9 years on PlayStation alone, and also starting to make content about it. So yeah, two worlds collide, and I think in a great way. So thank you, Wargaming. Specifically, all those who work in Mock Console. Maybe slightly more to those who work in Chicago and the American Rich, but of course it's a global game, so thank you everyone. Maybe Tikana. Definitely KB. Thank you, KB. And Bam for being the designer and taking the helm. Now that a certain leader is no longer, we're a year since Pain God left, and I think it's been for the better. So, that's my opinion on that. If you stuck around for this, thank you. And I'd like to thank Megadeth for, let's be real, I don't know if it would have hurt their name, but
That one left a hole.
I mean, granted, if this, no pun intended, if this game tanked, I don't think it would have hurt their credibility in any way, shape, or form, considering how it's
First mistake.
Wargaming's both as a company is a very popular billion-dollar company, and yet not everyone knows about World Tanks, or occasionally it's heard about. But thank you, and thank you for, if you've stuck around, for watching. And in the comments below, tell me what band or what songs most people don't think are emotional, but for you are important. You know, share some of the music that you love, whether it's metal, pop, K-pop, J-pop, or folk. You know, what music do you listen to for when the times are hard and you just need a moment to explode?
We pierced their armor.
So, I'm going to let the video play on for the rest of this match. Give everyone a chance to comment. But I'm going to say this. I hope everyone smells your Blacktooth bread and you up the irons. And I hope you keep your tracks on the ground and the RNG's in your favor. And always keep it metal.
Enemy scrapped. One of our vehicles destroyed. Are you kidding me? We didn't penetrate their armor. shot bounced off. Penetration negative. We've lost a friendly vehicle. Penetration. They hit the fuel tank. That's not good. Their steel is much too strong. Punch the hole in their armor. We're done for. Everyone out. This was a defeat, but we'll be back.